Okay, so I feel like everybody here knows who I am, but I'm Val, and I've really put a lot of my focus this year into working with schools. I just feel like it's super rewarding just personally and financially. Like you can get a lot more sales just doing a school order than you can with, I don't know, unless you're like the party queen or something like that, but I've been having a lot more luck with schools this school year, not just like 2018. So before Christmas, I did one readathon for our small little school. And then since then, I've done three more this school or this year. So, and I also did a book fair. I feel like the readathon was something that worked out much better for me. And I don't know if it was just a coincidence, like maybe it was the location in the school for the book fair. So I know that they did a lot of advertising for it. So I don't know which one is like the better way to go. I know that Sharon Zach, I don't know if she's on here right now, she's doing a book fair right now in like a French immersion school, and her sales were at like $4,000, which is like insane. None of mine were that high. I think my highest readathon was 3,500, and I was thrilled because I mean, this is like, that was like 64 kids that participated. So I don't know. I've been putting all my focus into book fairs and readathons, and I spent actually all morning. I'm like shy, so like for me to phone a school and ask them if they want to do a readathon terrifies me. Like where I feel like I'm going to throw up, or I'm like my hands are shaking and I can't even hold my pen. Like it's just ridiculous how afraid I am to call a school. But so every once in a while, I just like get the nerve up, and I'm like, okay, I'll just do it now while I'm feeling normal. So I phoned three schools this morning, and at this point in the school year, nobody seems to be really interested. I mean, they're all trying to like, they're into track right now, and they're all moving into like where it's like field trips galore. And so everybody that I've talked to this morning is all like really excited and wanting to do a readathon in the fall, but not right now, which is fine. I'll take the fall over nothing for sure. So I'm just going to spend the next few months, keep doing my events and building up more and more stock. For all of my school events that I do, I just take orders because I don't have a huge stock. I know with Scholastics, what they do is just send out a bunch of books. So there will be like 10 copies of the popular ones. And I don't have 10 copies of the popular ones. So I only pretty much have one of most things. I think I don't know how many books I have. I have about $6,000 worth of books, which is like way more than you actually need, but it is a nice variety. So if you're going to start building up your stock, which is probably the most important thing of all, is to have a huge variety. I just say like, if you're going to start doing school things in the fall, is to start like building up like a really, really good variety of school aged books. And I still have not yet compiled my list of what has been my top sellers, which I will do. It is on my list of things to do. And then I'll let you guys know what's been popular for me. But I've found that like at every school, it seems to be kind of different. So you never know from one school to the next what's going to be the popular title. So I just try to bring as many books in as I can. And some of the kids are disappointed because they want to take the books home that day with them. But once I explain to him or to them that the best way for me to make sure that they all get the books that they want is for me to take orders, and that it's really quick and it doesn't take a super long time for them to get there, they're okay with it. I mean, obviously they would really like to take the books home with them that day, but they would also rather be able to get the same book that their friend just got. So, I mean, like if I only had one sewing kit or one whatever, it basically goes to the first kid who gets there. And I don't know, I don't like that feeling where the kids leave feeling disappointed. And so because I don't have the stock to just sell off the table, I'm just going to keep taking orders for now. So it's been working for me. So having the proper amount of stock and having your educational specialist training are the two things that you have to do before you can even approach a school. You don't want to approach a school before you have the training because, one, it seems really unprofessional if they then say, okay, well, let's do a readathon or something, and then you're like, oh, well, I can't. Like, how dumb would you feel? So don't even approach a school until you've taken your training. It's super easy. All you need to do is have $1,000 worth of personal sales and then like read up all of the training manual on the website. And then for my team, I have a video training that Carol Cooper, who's like the book fair queen, she did a training for my team. And so I have all my girls watch that, and then I send them the test, which is basically mostly multiple choice and some short answer questions. It's super, super easy. And if anybody here is not on my team but wants that training with Carol, I'll send it to you. It's just on YouTube, but I just have it uploaded, so you can watch it if you want to. So how to approach a school. Like I said, I'm terrified of phoning them, but I have been sending out some emails. Like if you go on the internet and you look up your school division, you can pretty much get the email address for any of the staff members. So I have sent out a couple of emails to some of the librarians, and I didn't hear back from them. And I was like, okay, so either they got my email and they are not interested, or they didn't get it. So then what do? Like, you just sit there and wonder if they got it or if they didn't, because they're not answering. So I actually asked two of the ladies who I had emailed this morning, and neither one of them got my email. So I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just going to have to suck it up and not be a baby and phone people, because I feel like that's the best way. Like, or go in person. I live out in the middle of nowhere, so I'm not going to drive around to like a zillion schools with little information packages. But if you live near the school, you certainly could go in. The number one thing to do is make sure that they're not already being serviced by another Usborne consultant, though. So that should be one of your very, very first questions. Most of the teachers and librarians that I've talked to lately, they've never even heard of Usborne. So, and I know that there's no other consultant near me that actually could do like service them, because I just know, like Saskatchewan, we don't have that many consultants, and most of them don't have the training or the stock to actually do a school. But that's super important. So you always have to make sure that they aren't already being serviced by another consultant. So call them, go in, whatever you can do to make that first interaction with them. I just tell them like what I can offer them. Direct order, I can offer them a 15% discount on any orders over $100. Or you can do like the literacy fair, which is a book fair, and they get 25% in free books on anything that's over $500. If it doesn't make it to the $500 mark, then it just goes back in as a school order and they get the 15%. And then the readathon is 50-50. So half the money goes to the student and then half of them goes to the library or the teachers. I've kind of had it different every school that I've done, where like the rewards were going somewhere different. So the first school that I did, all of the free book credit was just going to the library. And then she kind of changed her mind, because she got like $1,750 worth of free books, and she just didn't even know what to do with that. So then she kind of like put it out to the teachers, like make wish lists. And so all the staff ended up making lists, and I was able to get everybody everything they wanted, except for like the few books that were not in stock at the time. So that worked out really good. The next school, everything went straight to the library. And then the last school that I just did, it was all going to the teachers. So let's say like in grade 1-2 class, they bring in $400, $200 went to the teacher for book for that classroom. And then the other $200 was for the students. So you can just give them the options, let them know that they can just pick and do whatever, like if the library is like, oh, we don't really need books for the library, well, then you can say, but maybe the staff would like them for the classroom. So it's nice to just at least be able to offer them both. I had something here I was going to show you. Right here. Once you actually get into the school and they agree to do it, this is what I made up, just packages that are envelopes. Well, I just have like this big write-up on the front explaining like the dates of the readathon and like what it's for. And I also give prizes out. So a prize to the student with the most reading minutes, and a prize to the student with the most pledges, and then a prize to the classroom with the most pledges combined. So that's all on the front of my little thing here, telling them like what they can read. And inside the packages, and of course all the dates of when it's ending and when the money has to be in by. And then inside the envelope is just a very simple reading log. I usually run my readathons for about 10 or 12 days, just because you don't want it too long or they lose interest, but you also don't want it too short, because you want them to have time to actually get out there and read and collect the pledges. So I usually do about like 10 or 12 lines on here, and it's just got their names and how many minutes they've read. And then the other one is just the pledge form. So who pledged them and how much. You don't have to, like, I know like the pledge form that is available on the website for us to download, it asks for the people's like address and stuff for the pledges. And I don't know, I just think that's weird. So I just took that out and made my own. And then my contact information and the staff member that I'm working with, our information is always at the bottom of all of these. So if parents have any questions, they can just read that and phone us. Nobody's ever called me to ask me any questions though. So I bring this on my very first day. Actually, I shouldn't say I bring this, because actually I always get the librarian to make them. I ask them if they are willing to just put together the envelopes so that they're ready for that day, and nobody's ever said no. I feel like they're kind of like, well, since you're doing all the work, I think I can make the envelopes. I would just make them myself if they said anything about it, but they're happy to. I mean, the school pays for all of the supplies, so it's not like it's coming out of their pocket themselves. So they just make up these packages for me. I just email them all of the sheets, they print them out, and they get them ready. And then that morning when I come in, I just have been setting up all of my books in the library, and then the librarian has it already prearranged with the teachers to bring in their students, one group at a time, so that I can just do a little presentation where I explain to them how a readathon works and explain to them about the prizes and how to get some pledges. And then I just give them like 10 minutes to just go and look at all the books and touch them and open them and find the books that they really love, and then send them on their way with their packages. And they always leave like super, super excited, because there's always at least one book on that table that they want. Sorry, there's a question in the chat. Yes, every student gets an envelope. So I've been doing pretty much kindergarten to like, it's usually up to the librarian or the school, but I've been doing like K to 8. I did one school where it was like, they just like let it be K to 12, and they brought in like the grade like 9, 10, 11, 12 students. And I'm like, oh man, this is like scary to me, who's like afraid of people, to talk to all these high school students, because I'm like this big and I'm just, I just feel dumb when I'm in there. But at this one school that I did, like the grade 11 and 12 boys were like the most excited of all. Like they really wanted like the optical illusion cards and like the World War books. So I don't know. I've been just telling my people that I've been phoning, like, that sometimes the high school kids are actually excited about some of the books that we have to offer, just so that, I mean, it doesn't hurt to invite them to participate if they want to, even if it's only one or two of them that does it. I have been finding that most of the high school kids, they don't really want to go out and collect pledges, but the day that I set up my store, they just come in cash and want to order it. So they'll just, Sharon, I'm going to mute you. Hear you leaving.
No, it's Sharon. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. I don't have to mute you. Do you want me to mute you?
Who, me?
Yeah. Your car.
Yes.
Your car was dinging.
Sorry.
No, that's.
I'm trying to mute myself.
Sharon is actually just leaving a book fair, right? Do you want to unmute yourself and tell us how awesome it was?
Yeah, I'm just heading home.
So how did
it was amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was a French language school, so I didn't sell a single English book.
That's crazy. And I've never sold one French book ever.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I can see this was my first one, so I totally see the potential right now in like, if I can do this well with the French books, and we have like 32 titles, I can totally rock an English literacy fair now.
Absolutely. It's such a different feeling being able to go into a school and getting all of these kids like super, super excited about the books. Because we have way better books to offer than Scholastics does. I feel like with Scholastics, even this librarian I was talking to this morning, she's like, her students are kind of just like bored with the scholastic stuff. You know, like there's nothing that's super, super exciting. Our books are amazing. Like all of the activity books, I sell lots of like paper planes and origami and keyboard books and sewing kits, stuff that's not really, but I do sell a lot of reading books, but I do find like a lot of it is like the activity-based stuff that's super exciting to them and appealing. So it just makes them want to participate and be there and get their parents there or get the pledge funds or whatever. So I don't know. I really, really love working with schools. One of the kids told me the other day when I was dropping off the books that it was their best school day ever, just because I was there with their new books. So I don't know. It's just a fun feeling. The kids just think it's great because they feel like they're getting it for free. Like, yes, they have to go out and earn it, but still they're just coming in the library and they get to like pick out as many, like all these free books that they want without their parents standing there telling them, oh, don't pick that one or pick this one. You know, like it's all of their choice. That's what makes it really fun.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything that you feel like you should like add to this? Do you have any tips for us? Something you would do or wouldn't do?
I think what I didn't realize on day one was that you can focus a lot on teachers as well. Mm-hmm. Like teachers, like you're in a school and it's full of teachers who would be not only looking for their own children, but also looking for their classrooms. So I sold a lot to teachers, which was fun.
Now,
not just students.
Did you only sell French books, like to teachers too? Like you didn't actually sell one English book?
Not a single English book.
Did you?
In fact, the irony of it is I gave one free book away. Like all of the students participated, and so they all put their name into the hat, and the winner chose the paper dolls, the cutout paper dolls, which is in English. So that's the only English book that I gave away or sold.
Cut out paper dolls. That is the worst book ever. The one where you
that's what she wanted.
Cut it out with scissors. That one. I couldn't even get.
Yeah, that one.
My kids wouldn't even take it. Like it's in my discount bin. Nobody wants it. That's crazy that that's the book they picked. See, that's what I mean. You just never know. Like kids are funny.
Yep. Yep.
I guess you don't have to, it's not French or English if it's cutting out paper dolls.
Well, that's it, right? And that was the only reason why the reason I couldn't sell any English books was because it was a French language school. So I actually bought some of my sticker books and the principal came and took them off my table and she said, absolutely not. We're not offering any English language to any of our students.
Wow.
So it really limited me. I mean, I literally only had about 30 titles that I could sell.
Well, you certainly sold a lot. How many students were there?
390.
That's pretty amazing. So you basically cleaned out our French stock then. Sorry, not sorry. I apologize for that. Okay, I'm going to go back to like my readathon steps because I feel like I've kind of been like jumping all over. So 1, contact the school and make arrangements for them to get on board with it. Have them create these envelopes for you so that you can come in and have them all ready that day. So grab a whole bunch of books, all the books that are like your top sellers, the ones that you think are going to appeal to all children from like kindergarten all the way to the top. So I put like lots of encyclopedias, lots of war books. Those are always the most popular. A really, really good selection of the war books and just like a little bit of everything in between. I can post pictures after of what I brought to some of my events if you want to see what my display looked like for my presentation day. So then the kids have like 10 or 14 days to go out and collect their pledges. They will bring in the money back. I usually put like a 3 days grace period between the day that the packages have to be brought into the teachers and the day that I actually come in and set up, because kids always forget stuff. So, I mean, there's always been times when I get to the school and they're still not all in, and the teachers are trying to like tally up how much money they have and stuff. So I always leave like, even if like I have them bring the packages in on like a Thursday and then they still have like Friday and Monday, and then I'll set up my store thing on like a Tuesday, just so there's a couple school days in between where they can bring their stuff in that they've forgotten. So then I go in, I set up my store, I take orders only, and then once the orders are in, it depends on like where the school is. I've had 2 schools where the librarian said, no, just ship them to me. I would be happy to sort them out, which is good because they were not very close to me. So I just shipped the books to them and they sorted them themselves. And then the other schools that were more local to me, I had them delivered to me and I wrapped them all individually. The first school I did, I wrapped them all in the packing paper. And then this last school I did is that I went to the co-op and I bought clear plastic bags. You know, the ones that you can put like a dozen buns in kind of thing, like those ones. Somebody in our group had posted that they were doing that for something and it worked out perfect. So then I just like used like the little zip tie at the top, and you can put like ribbon and curl the ends. You could like put your business card on it. If I had stickers, I would have shoved those in there. But you can make them really exciting with like throw in some bookmarks or something. But I love how pretty they looked because they were clear and you could see through what everybody had ordered. And most of the teachers just asked the students to not open their bags up and just put them in their backpacks so they could see all their books and they were excited. It wasn't just like this present that they weren't allowed to open and they don't remember what's inside. They could see what was in it. They were happy to just put it in their backpacks, and that way nothing got mixed up or anything. So that was pretty much it for a readathon. Before I go into what I did for a book fair, does anybody have any readathon questions?
Val, when you were taking orders, is it just class by class again come for to take orders? So it's not like overwhelming?
Yeah, I kind of like the teacher or the principal or whoever, the librarian, they would just kind of like go get like 5 or 6 kids at a time. It depended on the school because some schools were really small, so it was like the whole class could come, and then some we'd just get like 5 or 6 kids, and then once those kids were done, they'd send those ones back and then bring in the next bunch of kids. So we just kind of did it that way because, I mean, you don't want everybody in there, but so as soon as the kids come in, I would just like say like, congratulations, I'm so excited that you guys get to pick some books. And I tell them, this is what you have to do right now. You have to go and look at all the books on the table and pick one book that you have to have, what your number 1 favorite book is, and bring it to me. And then I'll tell you how much money you have left. Because most of the time the kids have no idea how much money they even have to spend. And like you can print off little vouchers, but kids lose them. So I've never bothered. I just keep like a sheet that tells me like how much money they've raised and how much they have to spend. And I just keep that like on my table and I ask them like, okay, well, what's your name? And then I find their name and tell them how much money they have. So I've been bringing my laptop with me and I've been kind of just entering it as I go while it's slow in case something has actually gone out of stock in the meantime, because if I have to get them to pick something else, or if I have to take my copy off the table so that I can keep that one aside for them. I've been doing that. But that is where my master catalog has come in very, very handy, because when I was doing lots of work with schools earlier this year, I had made the master catalog and gone through my entire stock and taken out everything that I couldn't offer them. But there was still a couple that slipped through the cracks somehow. So I was able to catch them and put them aside before it was like all these kids ordered books that they couldn't get. So I've been pretty lucky that my catalog's been good enough that I haven't ran into any problems where kids ordered books that we didn't have in stock. So I think making sure that your inventory is current is super important. It's a big job, but it's totally worth it because it's a huge headache if you have to then go back to all these kids and say, oh, can't get you that one. So making sure that the stock that you're offering them is actually available is super important. Does that help answer your question? Yes.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's just like I'm a visual person, so it's trying to visualize how it all looks, right? When like not like, oh, this swarm of kids run at you and you're like, I can't take orders.
I know it does get a little chaotic though. It does get a little crazy, but I mean, there's enough for them to like stand around and look at, and there's usually like a teacher or 2 in the room, kind of like helping them pick out books. And I always put like I always tell whoever's helping me which books are like the cheap ones, like the Farmyard Tale minis and the cheap dot to dot books, because those are the ones that we kind of use as fillers. If they have like $4 or $5 left, those are like the only books they can actually get. So I just make sure that whoever's helping me knows that those are the go-to books when they only have a few dollars left. And we always kind of like never worry too much if a kid goes over a little bit, because at the end of the day, these kids raise the money. We want them to leave happy. So if they have $10 and they pick something that's $13, we just give it to them. But that's always something I discuss with whoever's running it with me first, just to make sure that they're fine with it.
Okay.
Sharon, you had a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask about tax. How do you do? So let's say they raised $10, but they pick a book that's 13, but that's actually 15. How do you work? How do you?
Well, if you follow the readathon worksheet that's on the website, it says on there that it offers you 5% in free books. And so what I've just done is arranged with the staff that I would not charge GST, and we waive that 5%. So we just ignore it, and I don't charge any taxes. No tax, no shipping. So if a book is $12.95, they pay $12.95. Now, in HST provinces, I don't know. Is anybody here in HST a province? Because those scare me. I don't know anything about them. You're HST. So, like, yeah, you probably have to do the tax.
So we have to add on 13%, right?
Right, and mine's only 5. So I feel like, I don't know. I don't even know what to suggest for you. I hate math. Like, it is not my thing. What did you do? Did you charge the taxes?
I have to. Otherwise, I'm out. Like, that eats my commission hugely, right?
Yeah. Book fair is different too. I did charge. No, I didn't. I didn't charge the GST on my book fair. If it was just $12.95, they paid $12.95. That's just how it worked when I did my book fair too. But that's where that 5%, I just kind of eat it, or
right.
Or I just waive it, that 5%. As far as the worksheet goes, I actually stopped using it because I found that because the worksheet factors in the shipping, the school isn't actually getting 50%. They're getting like a little bit less than that. And so I found that when I put it in as an exhibit order, it actually works out better all around. That will not work in an HST province though. So don't even think about even looking into that if you're not if you are HST. But if you're just GST, depending how big your sales are, I would suggest looking into doing the order both ways to see which one is more beneficial for you. Which maybe just confused a bunch of you. Sorry.
Val, do you sticker your books that you give to the kids or no?
I didn't, because the first school was local to me. Everybody knows who I am. Everybody knows how to find me. The next school, same thing. The next 2 schools, the books were getting shipped directly to the school, so I couldn't. The book fair ones I did. I had the book fair books sent to me because I wanted to sticker everything because they were in a city school, and I wanted to make sure that their parents could get a hold of me if they wanted to. So I did sticker those ones. And then with my last readathon, I didn't, again, because it was a local school and everybody knows me.
So again, just depends on whether people have no idea who you are, but then if they look at the back of the book, they're like, hey, my kid loves that book, we need another one.
Yeah. If it's not a community that I'm well known at, I would definitely sticker every book.
Okay.
I used to be really weird about stickering books. When I first joined Usborne, I was like, I'm not putting stickers on my books because I would hate to get a book with stickers on it. No, actually, what I would hate more is that if people wanted to buy more, they can't find me because nobody keeps business cards and nobody knows who you are at a vendor event. So I didn't sticker my books for the first few months, and then, I don't know, reality hit that it was a good idea, and then I started to.
And that's how people's brains work. Because I honestly, like, if I buy Epicure or something, I'll go and look at the jar and be like, I don't even know who I bought that from. Is there a sticker on it?
Mm-hmm. If not, you'll just look for the next consultant, right? I don't want people searching for the next Usborne consultant because they can't figure out who I was.
Exactly.
So yes, I do sticker the books for the people who I don't know.
There's a question in the chat.
So when you tell them to pick their favorite book to start, what if they picked an 819? I just tell them I'm really sorry, but you don't have enough money for that book. You'll have to go pick. Then I'll tell them how much money that they have, and then they have to go back and try again. It is disappointing when kids come and, they had $20, they brought $20 in, but they only get to spend 10. Sometimes that's kind of a struggle for some kids, but then I just tell them the other half of the money is going to the teacher or the library so they can pick lots of books that you can borrow too. So, because they feel like some of them are a little disappointed that they're losing half of the money that they raised. But for the most part, none of them have ever said anything. They're just excited to come in and pick something.
And the nice thing is we have a huge range under $10.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Any more questions on that? I don't know a lot about book fairs. I'll just tell you about the one that I did. I had done a teachers convention thing at this one school in the city. And one day when I was bored and I was trying to figure out what kind of school I could get into, because I didn't really know who else to contact. And I'm like, I should just contact that school where I had been into, because I had the email address for the secretary or the vice principal or whoever is in charge of everything. And so I emailed her and she was like, I'll pass it along to my librarian. And he was really excited about it and ended up calling me and we chatted over the phone about it. He didn't want to do a readathon. He wanted to do a book fair. Parent-teacher interviews were coming up in a couple weeks. So he wanted me to come in, set up over 3 days. It was a Wednesday night, Thursday, and Friday morning. So he asked me to be there and be set up before noon on the Wednesday because he wanted the teachers to be able to have the students come down and look through the books and do previews and get the kids excited about it. But then I was there and I was set up and then I was like, okay, so what time are the teachers bringing the students? And he's like, I didn't make arrangements for that. Did you want me to? I'm like, well, it was your idea. I didn't say that, but I was like, sure, yeah, that'd be great. But I'm thinking, why am I here? This is ridiculous. Because it was noon and interviews weren't starting till 3:30. What am I supposed to be doing here all day if the kids aren't actually coming to look at the books? So luckily, a few teachers kind of came through. I wasn't really, really satisfied with this librarian. I don't feel like he really did a lot to really promote it. And the location of it wasn't really great for being in this big school because I was down in the basement, which is by the elementary, the kindergarten and grade 1, 2, 3 or whatever classes. But any of the older kids upstairs, if they didn't know I was there or, I wasn't in a central location where people had to walk by me or see me. So I really wasn't really happy with it. And my sales weren't really great. But I feel like it was probably the school. I wouldn't be turned off of a book fair because of this experience. I just feel like my readathons have been so much better. But I think it's because it's my job to get the kids really excited to go home with their paperwork. Whereas with a book fair, if the parents don't see you or don't know to look for you, there's just nothing you can even do. You can't get the kids excited about something that they don't really even know is there. Or if they haven't had a chance to come down and look through the books and make a wish list or something. So one teacher did come by and had his students make wish lists. And I made it very clear when they came. I said, I'm really happy that you're here to make wish lists, but I have one favor to ask. Please don't put your piece of paper on the books and write on it. Put your paper on the floor and write down on it because it's a nightmare when kids or even at a trade show, people will take the draw slip and they'll just slap it down on one of your books and start writing on it. And then their name's indented in your book. And that's my biggest pet peeve ever. So at my book or at my events, I always have little clipboards where the draw slips are attached to. So there's always something hard on the back. But with the book fair, I just really asked the students, I just said, please just put, put the paper beside the book or do it on the floor or something. So it is worth mentioning if you don't want all of your books indented with their writing. So that's something super important if you're doing a book fair. Sharon, did you have kids come do previews? Sharon gone? I feel like previews are a super important thing because you want the kids to leave excited. You want them to have that little piece of paper to take home to their parents and say, these are the books I'm really excited about. This school, they did advertise it on their Facebook page and in their newsletter, and there was a couple posters put up around the school. But again, I feel like the previews is definitely the most important advertising of the whole thing. So to qualify for a book fair, you do have to have $500 in sales for the school to get the 25% in free books. And if it doesn't, then you just submit it as a book order or a school order, and they get 15%. So I don't know. I can't imagine going into a school and not selling $500 worth of books, but I mean, I guess it could happen. But at least that is what you do. I did have a prize draw too on my table where I was set up. Like I had like a little, at the dollar store, you can buy these like little stands with like a little chalkboard thing on the top. And so I just wrote free book prize or something like that. And then I had draw slips. So all the students can put their name in for a draw. So they were all excited about that. And again, yeah, with this one, I had all the books shipped to me so that I could sticker them and organize them. And then I brought them back to the school so they could deliver them. I know lots of the people who do like lots of book fairs, they just sell off the table, which would be really easy. But again, if you don't have a lot of stock, like I sell a lot of like the same books. Like, so what, one school I sold like 10 illustrated ghost story books. Had I only been just selling off the table, it's so hard to know like if kids would have been as excited about something else. So I don't know. I just feel like taking orders is what works best for me. And someday if I have like $20,000 to invest in books, I'll maybe switch it up and try it the other way. Which probably won't happen. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I can really say about book fairs because I just don't really know anything else about them. Did that help? Does anybody have any questions about book fairs? I don't know if it's like lagging or if nobody's talking. Raylan, you look like you're like really in a zone right now.
I'm totally listening to you, but I'm also working power hour while everybody's napping.
Okay. Well, if nobody has any more questions, I'll just stop the recording.